My name is Sophia Chen. I stand under the searing spotlight of the Chicago Behavioral Science Summit, my navy suit crisp against the stage's dark backdrop. The auditorium hums with 500 psychologists, their notebooks open, eyes locked on me. At 34, I am a force in my field, my research on cognitive deception shaping how the world understands trust. I still get compliments on my long, sleek black hair that falls straight to my mid-back, my almond-shaped dark eyes that seem to pierce through facades, and my fair skin with a subtle golden undertone from my heritage. My voice, steady and warm, cuts through the room as I unveil my latest study. We build our lives on trust, I say, my dark eyes scanning the crowd. But what happens when it's a house of cards? The words land with weight, my slides flashing data on betrayal's psychological toll. I'm at my peak, books published, TED Talks delivered, a Brooklyn brownstone filled with light and love. Liam, my partner of 3 years, is my anchor. His texts are a constant warmth. Proud of you, Soph. Kill it today. My phone vibrates in my pocket mid-sentence. I ignore it at first, focusing on the flow of my presentation, the way the audience leans forward, hanging on every statistic I throw their way. But it buzzes again, insistent, pulling at my concentration like a loose thread in a perfectly woven tapestry. I glance down during a brief pause, my heart skipping a beat as I see a number I don't recognize. The message reads, "Ask Liam about Seattle." My breath catches, a sharp intake that I hope the microphone doesn't pick up. Liam's in Boston for a design job, isn't he? The words blur for a moment on my screen, and I force myself to continue, wrapping up with a flourish that earns thunderous applause. But backstage, away from the admiring eyes and handshakes, my fingers tremble as I type back, "Who is this?" No reply comes. The air in the green room feels heavier, the summit's buzz fading into a distant hum like white noise in my ears. I'm a scientist of the mind, trained to dissect behaviors and uncover hidden motives. But this text feels like a riddle designed just for me, one that threatens to unravel everything I've built. I try to shake it off as I navigate the post-conference mingle, smiling through congratulations from colleagues, but my mind races. Who could know about Liam's trips? And why Seattle? I've never questioned his freelance schedule before. It's erratic by nature, full of last-minute client calls and red-eye flights. But now, doubt creeps in like fog, rolling off the Hudson, clouding my thoughts. I hail a cab back to my hotel, the Chicago streets blurring past the window, and pull up Liam's last message. Can't wait to hear how it went. Love you. It should warm me, but instead, it feels hollow, like an echo in an empty room. I call him, my voice light despite the knot in my stomach. "Hey, babe." The talk was a hit, I say, leaning back against the leather seat. His laugh comes through the line, easy and familiar. Knew it would be. You're unstoppable. We chat about nothing. Dinner plans when I'm home, a hike we've been talking about, but I can't bring myself to mention the text. Not yet. Hanging up, I stare at my reflection in the hotel mirror, my dark hair still pinned neatly from the stage, my makeup flawless. Who am I if I can't see through this? My life wasn't always this gilded, this seemingly perfect. 5 years ago, I was a postdoc in a cramped NYU office, my brilliance overshadowed by a mentor who stole my research and left me doubting every instinct I had. That betrayal was professional, a knife in the back that taught me to guard my ideas like treasures, but it didn't prepare me for something personal like this. I met Liam at a Greenwich Village gallery opening, the kind of event where artists mingle with intellectuals under soft lighting and the faint scent of oil paint. He was standing by an abstract piece, his tousled hair catching the glow, sketching idly on a napkin. The charismatic freelance graphic designer, Liam Hayes, approached me first, his quick laugh disarming as he commented on the painting's chaotic lines mirroring human emotions. He's tall and lean, with tousled sandy brown hair that always looks effortlessly styled, piercing blue eyes that crinkle at the corners when he smiles his disarming grin, and a light stubble that gives him a rugged, artistic vibe. "You look like someone who gets that," he said, his blue eyes locking on mine. I laughed, surprised by how easily he pulled me into conversation. Over coffee at a nearby cafe, the espresso bitter and hot on my tongue, he listened as I ranted about my latest paper on trust dynamics. He sketched me right there, his pencil flying across the napkin, capturing my features with a tenderness that made my cheeks flush. "You're unstoppable," he said, handing it to me, and for the first time in years I believed it. We started dating slowly. Weekend hikes in the Catskills where the fresh air cleared my head. Late-night debates over Malbec and my brownstone. The wine's rich notes lingering as we planned a future together. I shared my dreams. A research institute of my own. A legacy in psychology. And he supported them. His own freelance work flexible enough to fit around mine. I ignored the red flags. Those subtle inconsistencies that nagged at the edges of my awareness. His phone always face down on the table, buzzing with notifications he'd silence without explanation. His vague stories about his childhood, dodging details like, "Oh, just a small town, nothing special." His business trips that stretched from days to weeks, always with a plausible excuse like a demanding client. Freelance life. He'd shrug, his grin melting my questions away. I trusted him because he made me feel seen and valued in a way no one else had. But not everyone was convinced. My best friend, the sharp-eyed neuroscientist Dr. Maya Patel, saw through his polish from the start. She's my age, with warm brown skin, wild dark curls that frame her round face, expressive hazel eyes that miss nothing, and a petite, energetic build that belies her fierce intellect. We met over wine at my brownstone one evening, the fireplace crackling softly, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Maya, with her infectious energy and curls that seemed to have a life of their own, leaned forward on the couch, her glass of Cabernet swirling in her hand. "He's too smooth, Soph," she warned, her voice laced with that analytical edge she brings to everything. "Nobody's that perfect without hiding something." I laughed it off, the wine warming my throat, defending him with stories of his thoughtfulness. How he'd surprise me with sketches of my favorite places, or cook elaborate dinners after my long days. "You analyze everyone like they're in one of your brain scans, Maya. He's not a lab rat." But her eyes didn't soften. She just sipped her wine, planting a seed of doubt that I tried to ignore. Then there was my sister, the pragmatic lawyer Elise Chen, who echoed Maya's concerns during a tense brunch at a bustling cafe in Brooklyn. Elise, with her no-nonsense bob haircut and a wardrobe of tailored suits, sipped her latte across from me, the clatter of plates and chatter of patrons filling the air. She's 2 years older than me, sharing our Chinese-American features with short, straight black hair and a practical bob, sharp cheekbones, and intense dark eyes behind stylish glasses, her slender frame always clad in tailored suits that scream competence. "Liam's charming, sure, but he dodges questions like a witness on the stand," she said, her eyebrow arched in that way she does when she's cross-examining. "Where's he from, really? What's his family like?" I bristled, stirring my coffee a bit too vigorously, the spoon clinking against the mug. "He's private, Elise, not shady. Not everyone wears their life story on their sleeve." She reached across the table, her hand on mine, her touch firm but caring. "I just want you to be careful. You've been hurt before." I pulled away gently, changing the subject to her latest case, but her words lingered like an unwelcome guest. Our relationship deepened despite their warnings. I shared my fears with Liam, my terror of failure, of being unseen in a field dominated by louder voices. And he listened, his arms around me in the quiet of our bedroom, the city lights twinkling outside the window. He sketched me in those vulnerable moments, his pencil tracing my jawline with care, turning my insecurities into art. We moved in together, merging our lives seamlessly, his design tools scattered across the dining table, my psychology books lining the shelves. I even linked our bank accounts for shared expenses, a level of trust I hadn't offered since my mentor's betrayal shattered my confidence. My career soared. My book on deception climbed the charts. My Manhattan office gleamed with glass and steel, a testament to years of relentless work. Liam was there for it all, cheering me on, his presence a steady rhythm in the chaos of my days. But 3 months ago, the cracks began to show, small at first, like hairline fractures in a foundation. A receipt for a Seattle cafe slipped from his jacket pocket, dated during one of his Boston trips. I picked it up, the paper crinkling in my fingers, and asked about it casually. "Must be a mix-up," he said, kissing my forehead, but his eyes avoided mine. Then a missed call from a 206 area code, which he quickly deleted from his log when he thought I wasn't looking. I brushed it off, buried in deadlines for my next study, but the doubts accumulated like dust on forgotten shelves. That night in my study, everything shattered. My laptop crashed mid-analysis, the screen going black with a frustrating finality. The room was dim, lit only by the desk lamp's warm glow, casting long shadows across stacks of journals and a half-empty coffee mug. I grabbed Liam's laptop from the shelf, figuring it was quicker than rebooting mine. As it woke up, a notification pinged. An email from someone named Claire. Miss you in Seattle. When are you back? My stomach lurched, a cold wave washing over me. I clicked, my heart hammering in my chest, the mouse cursor trembling slightly under my finger. The thread unfolded like a nightmare. Intimate messages about dinners at Pike Place Market, walks along Puget Sound under rainy skies, photos of Liam with a woman, his arm draped around her shoulders, his smile, the same one he gave me. The room spun for a moment, the air thick with the musty scent of old books and my own rising panic. I dug deeper, my analytical mind kicking into overdrive despite the pain. In a folder labeled Taxes, I found bank statements, transfers from our joint account, flights, hotels, a necklace that wasn't for me. My money, funding his secret life. My hands shook as I scrolled, the laptop's fan whirring louder in the silence. How had I missed this? Me, who lectures on cognitive biases and deception patterns, blind to the man sharing my bed. The discovery hits me like a tidal wave, crashing over everything I thought I knew. I sit frozen in my chair, the steady silence pressing against me like a weight. Shame burns through me, hotter than any anger. Shame that I, Dr. Sophia Chen, expert in human behavior, fell for this. I replay every moment in my head. His late-night calls with clients, his charm that disarmed my questions, his promises of forever whispered in the dark. I feel like a fool, my expertise mocked by his duplicity. Tears blur my vision, hot and unbidden, as I stare at the screen. I could scream, storm into the bedroom, and confront him when he gets home. Throw his things out onto the Brooklyn street below. But that feels too small, too immediate for the depth of this betrayal. No, Liam deserves something more calculated. A dismantling as precise as the studies I design. I wipe my eyes, my breath steadying, and decide right there in the dim light. I'll unravel his lies with the same tools I use in my work: observation, analysis, strategy. Revenge won't be loud or impulsive. It'll be surgical, leaving him exposed and broken. I start by observing, treating him like a subject in one of my experiments. Liam's still away in Boston, but I track his patterns now, cross-referencing his so-called schedule with the bank withdrawals I've uncovered. He's in Seattle every other week, back just long enough to maintain the illusion with me. I find his second ex-profile, Evan Carter, buried under privacy settings, filled with photos of Seattle sunsets and flirty comments from Claire. She's a marketing manager, from what I can glean. Single, ambitious, completely unaware of my existence. The betrayal stings anew, but I channel it into focus. I meet with a therapist colleague, the empathetic Dr. Lena Kim, in her quiet midtown office, the city's hum faint through the thick windows. She's Korean-American in her 40s, with smooth black hair and a shoulder-length cut, kind brown eyes that invite confessions, and a gentle, average build that puts people at ease. I trusted him completely, I admit, my voice cracking for the first time. Lena's gaze is kind, her notepad balanced on her knee. You're human, Sophia. Trust isn't a flaw. It's what he exploited. Her words sting but ground me, reminding me that my pain doesn't define my intelligence. Late at night, I journal, the pen scratching across the page as I pour out my shame, my anger, my resolve. I'm not just fighting for revenge. I'm fighting to reclaim the parts of me he stole. I lean on Maya, calling her that night, my voice unsteady as I spill everything. The emails, the photos, the money. She arrives at my brownstone within the hour, her presence a lifeline in the storm. Over more wine, the kitchen clock ticking relentlessly, she listens without interruption, her expression shifting from shock to determination. He's a con artist, she says finally, her tone fierce. But you're smarter than him, Soph. Use that brain of yours. I nod, the fog of despair lifting slightly under her encouragement. Maya helps me brainstorm, her insight sharp as we map out his deceptions. And then there's Elise. I call her too, bridging the gap our arguments over Liam had created. We talk for hours, her voice steady on the line, offering legal advice mixed with sisterly concern. Their support bolsters me, turning my isolation into an alliance. As I hack deeper into Liam's secondary email, my heart pounding in the quiet study, I find a file labeled Exit Plan. It outlines his intent to drain our joint account completely and move to Seattle for good, leaving me behind like discarded baggage. My breath catches, a chill running down my spine. Has he already started transferring more? My phone buzzes on the desk, startling me. Maya, her message urgent. Soph, I found a fake client in his invoices. Brightwave Designs, it's a shell. Call me now. The study door creaks faintly, the brownstone settling. But in my paranoia, it sounds like footsteps. Is Liam home early? I freeze, listening. The laptop's glow, the only light in the room. My study feels like a pressure cooker, the air thick with the scent of stale coffee and the faint metallic tang of fear. I freeze, my heart slamming against my ribs like a trapped bird. The laptop's glow casting eerie shadows on the walls. The creak echoes again, but it's just the old brownstone settling, not Liam's footsteps. I exhale slowly, my breath shaky, and close the exit plan file before he really does walk in unexpectedly. Maya's message stares at me from my phone. Brightwave Designs. It's a shell. I dial her, my fingers slick on the screen, and she picks up on the first ring. Soph, you okay? Her voice is steady, a lifeline in the chaos. I spill it all. The file. His plan to drain everything and bolt to Seattle. He's not just cheating. I whisper, pacing the room, the hardwood cool under my bare feet. He's plotting to leave me broke. Maya's silence is brief, then resolute. We take him down. Start with the money. Protect yourself first. Her words ignite something in me, a spark of control amid the betrayal's wreckage. I hang up, my mind already shifting from victim to strategist. This isn't just about heartbreak anymore. It's about reclaiming my power. I won't let Liam steal my future. Instead, I'll dismantle his piece by calculated piece. My first step is securing my finances, turning my analytical skills into a shield. I schedule a meeting with my lawyer, the no-frills legal expert Priya Anand, in her sleek Manhattan office the next morning. She's in her late 40s, with deep brown skin, straight black hair pulled into a severe bun, keen dark eyes that seem to dissect every word, and a compact, no-nonsense build that exudes authority. The city buzzes outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, taxis honking like impatient geese, but inside, it's all leather chairs and quiet efficiency. Priya, with her impeccable bob and piercing gaze, scans the evidence I've printed. Bank statements, emails, the damning exit plan. This is fraud, Sophia, she says, her pen tapping a rhythmic beat on her notepad. We freeze the joint account immediately. Cite suspicious activity to the bank. I nod, my pulse steadying for the first time in hours. Can we trace where the money's gone? Build a case? Priya's lips curve into a rare smile, sharp as a scalpel. Absolutely. I'll loop in a forensic accountant. In the meantime, transfer your personal savings to a new account, today. Leaving her office, the autumn wind whipping my coat around me, I feel a weight lift. Back home, I log into my banking app, my fingers flying over the keyboard, moving funds with the precision of a surgeon. Liam's still away, but I know the truth now. I check his second X profile again, Evan Carter, where he's posted a cryptic sunset photo over Puget Sound, Claire's comment popping up, miss our walks. Jealousy twists in my gut, but I push it down. Knowledge is my weapon. Maya becomes my co-conspirator, her insights as invaluable as ever. We meet at our favorite Brooklyn diner, the kind with vinyl booths and the constant sizzle of frying eggs. She slides a folder across the sticky table, her eyes intense. Brightwave Designs? It's bogus. No real website, no tax filings, just a P.O. box in Seattle linked to Liam. I flip through her printouts. Invoices he's faked for, design work. My coffee forgotten as the pieces click. He's laundering my money through this shell, I murmur, the realization bitter on my tongue. Maya nods, leaning forward. I cross-referenced his flights, too. Seattle every other week for a year, Soph. He's built a whole life there. The diner's chatter fades as I absorb it, my fork idle in my hand. How did I sleep next to this man, share dreams with him, without sensing the divide? Maya's hand covers mine, warm and grounding. You're not the fool here. He is. Let's use this. We brainstorm over greasy fries, her ideas sparking mine. Anonymous tips, digital trails, psychological nudges to unsettle him. Leaving the diner, the cool air on my face, I feel less alone, more empowered. I dive deeper into his digital world, my study transforming into a command center. Stacks of notes clutter the desk, the lamp's light pooling like a spotlight on my laptop. I reach out to an old grad school contact, the tech-savvy hacker Theo Ramirez, meeting him in a dimly lit East Village bar, where the jukebox plays faded rock anthems. He's in his early 30s, with olive skin, messy dark hair under a perpetual hoodie, mischievous green eyes hidden behind thick-rimmed glasses, and a lanky frame that slouches comfortably in any chair. Theo, with his perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, slides into the booth, a beer already in hand. "You want his secrets?" he asks, his grin sly as he opens his laptop. I hesitate, the ethics of my profession clashing with my desperation, the line between research and revenge blurring. "Just access to his secondary email and phone," I say finally, sipping my gin and tonic, the lime sharpness cutting through. "No traces back to me." Theo nods, his fingers dancing over the keys. By the next morning, he emails me the cracked password, Sketcher92. Too predictable, too arrogant. I scroll through messages to Claire. Plans for dinners. Whispers of a future together. Each one a fresh stab. I find the Brightwave invoices tied to a Seattle bank account. My money, vanishing into his double life. Anger surges, hot and fierce, but I harness it, noting every detail. My plan crystallizes, a masterpiece of psychological warfare. I target Claire first, the unwitting other woman. Using a burner email, I send her a vague message. "Do you know Evan's real life in New York?" I attach a photo of Liam at our Brooklyn diner, time-stamped during one of his Seattle trips. My heart races as I hit send, the study's clock ticking like a countdown. Claire's reply pings back almost immediately, confused and demanding. "Who is this? What do you mean?" I don't respond, letting the uncertainty fester like a weed in her mind. In New York, I start needling Liam subtly, testing his reactions. Over dinner in our brownstone, the candles flickering and casting warm glows on the walls, I ask casually, "How's Boston treating you? Meet any interesting clients?" His fork pauses midair, his smile tightening just a fraction. "Same old grind?" he replies, but his eyes flick to his phone on the table. I leave my laptop open to a Seattle flight search, accidentally, shrugging when he notices. "Just pondering a conference," I say, pouring more wine, the liquid glugging softly. His jaw clenches, a tell I've never noticed before. He's unraveling, and it's intoxicating. But then the stakes skyrocket, with a professional blow I didn't see coming. I'm deep into revisions for my upcoming book, Deceptions of the Mind, when my publisher, the seasoned editor Ellen Voss, calls me into her Midtown office. Ellen, with her silver hair and commanding presence, leans across her cluttered desk, her voice grave. She's in her 50s, with silver-streaked blonde hair and a chic updo, sharp blue eyes that have seen every publishing drama, and a tall, elegant figure that commands respect in any room. "Sophia, a draft of your manuscript was emailed anonymously to Dr. Rachel Klein." My blood runs cold, the room's air conditioning suddenly too chilly. Rachel, my ambitious rival with a knack for stealing the spotlight, has been gunning for my position in the field for years. "How?" I ask, my mind reeling. Ellen frowns, pushing printouts toward me. "It came from an address tied to your IP. If she publishes first, your book's credibility tanks." I know instantly. Liam. He has access to my laptop, my files. He's not just betraying me personally. He's sabotaging my career to keep me off balance while he executes his exit. Fury boils up, but I force calm. "I'll fix this," I promise, leaving her office with my head high, the elevator's descent mirroring my spiraling thoughts. Back home, I scour my laptop's logs, finding Liam's fingerprints, logins during times he claimed to be working. I submit the book early to Ellen, locking in the copyright, and email Rachel directly. "I know you have my draft. Return it or face legal consequences." Her reply is smug, dripping with false innocence. "Prove it." But I have the logs, the timestamps. I forward them to Priya, who drafts a cease and desist. Rachel backs down within days, the draft deleted, her silence a victory. My career is salvaged, but the close call fuels my fire. Liam will pay for this too. My emotional roller coaster intensifies, a tightrope walk between rage and vulnerability. Late nights, I journal furiously, the pen digging into the paper as I unpack the layers. The shame of being duped, the fear that I'll never trust again, the echo of my mentor's betrayal amplifying this one. How could I, of all people, miss the signs? I nearly crack one evening, staring at Liam's sketches on the wall, the charcoal lines mocking me. I grab one, ready to tear it, but stop, breathing deep. The destruction would be too quick, too cathartic for him to deserve. Instead, I call Elise, bridging the distance our disagreements over Liam created. We meet at a cozy Italian spot in the village, the aroma of garlic and basil wrapping around us like comfort. I should have listened to you. I admit over pasta, my voice thick with regret. Elise reaches across the table, her touch sisterly and reassuring. You were in love, Soph. That blinds even the best of us. We talk late, mending fences, her pragmatism grounding my chaos. Maya checks in daily too, her texts are constant. You got this, warrior. Their support rebuilds me, turning despair into determination. I ramp up the plan, cloning Liam's second phone with Theo's software, the device a mirror of his secrets. Texts to Claire flood the screen, plans for a big move to Seattle, promises that twist like knives. I send Claire another anonymous email, attaching a screenshot of his ex profile, with his real name exposed. Her response is frantic. I'm confronting him tomorrow. Panic flares. She's accelerating faster than I anticipated. Have I overplayed my hand? I adjust quickly, posing as HR from her company to schedule a conflicting client meeting, buying time. In New York, I accidentally forwarded Liam an email from Priya about the frozen account. Bank flags some transfers. I say casually over breakfast, watching his face drain of color, the toast crunching too loudly in the silence. Probably nothing, I add, but his hand trembles as he pours coffee. I post on X, hinting at a Seattle trip, surprise adventure soon. His phone lights up with alerts, his paranoia blooming like a weed. The tension crests as I access his cloned phone in the study, the screen illuminating texts begging Claire to respond. Footsteps echo in the hall. Liam, home early. My breath hitches as the phone slips from my fingers into a drawer just as he enters. Working late again? He asks, his tone casual but eyes sweeping the room like a searchlight. Just wrapping up some notes, I reply, forcing a smile, my heart thundering. He lingers, stepping closer, his gaze landing on the drawer. You've seemed distant, he says, his hand brushing my arm, a touch that once thrilled me, but now repulses me. Does he suspect? I deflect, asking about his day, but the air crackles with unspoken accusations. He finally leaves, and I sag against the desk, adrenaline buzzing. The next morning, Claire's email to my burner account hits like a bomb. I know who you are. Meet me in Seattle or I'll expose everything. My hands go clammy. How did she trace me? A slip in my anonymity, perhaps an IP leak. And then, in Liam's inbox, a new message to an unknown contact. If she digs too deep, I have proof she faked it all. Her career ends. The threat lands heavy, my studies spinning. He's plotting a counterstrike, ready to drag me down with him. My plan teeters. But I won't back down now. My plan is in motion, an intricate web of moves designed to isolate Liam, expose his lies, and watch him crumble under the weight of his own deception. Claire's email demanding a meeting in Seattle hangs over me like a storm cloud, but I refuse to let it derail me. Instead, I use it as fuel, adjusting my tactics with the precision I've honed in years of psychological research. Liam's backup plan, his threat to frame me and torpedo my career, lingers in the back of my mind, a shadow that makes every step feel like walking a tightrope over an abyss. But I'm done being the victim. From my brownstone, the city lights twinkling like distant stars outside the window, I escalate the disruptions. I know he's heading back to Seattle soon, claiming another client emergency in Boston, so I target his professional facade first. Posing as a concerned industry insider through an anonymous account, I emailed 2 of his legitimate clients, graphic design firms he's actually worked for, hinting at billing discrepancies and potential fraud. The messages are subtle, professional, laced with just enough detail from the Brightwave invoices to spark paranoia without implicating me. I hit send, the keyboard clicks echoing in the quiet room, and lean back, imagining the ripple effect. By evening, his inbox, mirrored on my cloned phone, fills with cancellation notices and curt demands for explanations. His replies are desperate, typos creeping in, his polished charm cracking like thin ice. At home, I keep up the act, but with sharper edges now. Liam returns from his trip, his suitcase thumping in the hall, and I greet him with a hug that feels like embracing a stranger. Over dinner, pasta I cooked with mechanical efficiency, the sauce's garlic aroma filling the kitchen. I drop casual bombs. You look tired, I say, twirling my fork, the candle flames dancing in his eyes. Work rough? He nods, forcing a smile, but his hand trembles as he reaches for his wine. Just busy. I tilt my head, innocent as ever. I saw a charge flagged on the account. Seattle again. Weird, right? His face pales, the glass clinking against his teeth as he sips. Must be a mistake, he mutters, but his eyes avoid mine, darting to his phone like it's a lifeline. I post on X that night. A vague tease. Heading west for a surprise adventure soon. Can't wait. His device buzzes with notifications. He's following me under his real account, and I catch him scrolling frantically, his brow furrowed. He's off balance, isolated, just as I intended. The psychological pressure is working. He's snapping at small things, missing deadlines I know about from his emails. It's satisfying. A slow burn that mirrors the pain he inflicted on me. The book sabotage subplot refuses to die quietly, pulling me back into professional waters. Ellen calls me in a panic, her voice crackling over the line as I pace my office. The Manhattan skyline, a gray blur through the rain-streaked windows. Sophia, Rachel's hinting at a similar paper in her next talk. If she plagiarizes... I cut her off, my resolve steel. She won't. Armed with the login traces, I confront Rachel in person at a neutral cafe, the espresso machine hissing like a warning. Rachel, with her sleek blonde bob and predatory smile, sips her latte across from me, feigning surprise. Accusation, Sophia? How unlike you. I slide the printed logs across the table, my voice low and unyielding. Return the draft. Delete it. Or my lawyer makes this public. Her smirk falters, eyes narrowing as she scans the evidence. You can't prove intent. But she knows I can. Reputations in our field are fragile. By the next day, Ellen confirms the threat's neutralized, and the book launch is on track. You're a fighter, she says, her tone admiring. I hang up, a surge of triumph mixing with exhaustion. Liam's attempt to undermine me has backfired. It's another nail in his coffin. Maya remains my rock, her support a constant thread weaving through the chaos. We meet in a bustling park, the autumn leaves crunching under our boots, the air crisp with the scent of damp earth. She hands me a USB drive over a bench-side coffee, her eyes fierce. Final traces on Brightwave. It's all linked to Liam's Seattle account. Undeniable fraud. I pocket it, gratitude swelling in my chest. I couldn't do this without you. She squeezes my arm. Yes, you could. But I'm glad you're not. We walk, talking strategy, her laughter a brief light in the darkness. Elise joins the circle too. Her pragmatism a perfect counter to my emotional swings. We have dinner at that same Italian spot, the candlelight softening her features as she reviews Priya's notes. This evidence? Ironclad. When it hits, he'll fold. Her encouragement mends the last fractures between us, turning our strained bond into something unbreakable. With them behind me, I feel invincible, ready for the endgame. I book my flight to Seattle, syncing it with Liam's itinerary from his cloned phone. The airport hums with travelers. The overhead announcements, a dull drone as I board. My disguise packed. A wig. Glasses. Nothing flashy. In Seattle, the rain-slick streets reflect neon lights, the air heavy with salt from the sound. I check into a hotel near the Anchor, the trendy bar where his texts show he's meeting Claire. My heart races as I orchestrate the final pushes. I send her the envelope via courier. Printed emails, bank transfers, the exit plan. With an unsigned note, the truth you deserve. Then, using a spoofed email from her workplace, I scheduled an urgent client call to delay her, buying me time to observe. Liam's messages to her grow frantic. Where are you? We need to talk. I sip tea in my room, the steam curling like my building anticipation. He's alone, vulnerable. The climax unfolds at the Anchor. The bar's dim lights casting long shadows over wooden tables, the murmur of conversations blending with clinking glasses. I slip in disguised, the wig itching slightly, and claim a corner stool, nursing a drink as Liam arrives. He looks haggard, scanning the room with desperate eyes. Claire bursts through the door minutes later, her face a mask of fury, the envelope clutched like a weapon. She's in her late 20s, with fair skin, wavy blonde hair cascading to her shoulders, wide blue eyes filled with confusion turning to fury, and a curvy figure that moves with confident grace. You're Evan Carter? She yells, slamming it down, heads turning. The bar quiets, a ripple of curiosity spreading. Liam stammers, standing. Claire, wait, it's not. She thrusts the papers at him. Lies. New York, her money, everything. I watch, pulse thundering as his world cracks. Then I stand, shedding the wig, my hair falling free. He lied to me too, I say, stepping forward, my voice cutting through the tension. Liam's eyes widen in horror. Sophia? How? Claire turns, recognition dawning, her anger shifting to solidarity. Liam recovers, pulling his phone with a sneer. She's faking this. Look, I have proof she fabricated the emails to frame me. He shows a doctored screenshot, his voice rising in a desperate bid. The crowd murmurs, doubt flickering. Has he turned it? My mind races, the bar's air thick with whiskey and suspense. I pull out my phone, displaying the originals. Timestamps, logs, the real exit plan. Check the metadata, I say calmly, handing it to Claire. She scans, her expression hardening. You're the liar. She spits at him, tossing the phone back. The Alliance seals it. Claire storms out, the door banging, and Liam slumps, the crowd stares, pinning him like spotlights. You thought you could destroy me, I whisper, leaning close, my breath steady. But you only made me stronger. I walk away, leaving him broken amid the whispers. Back in New York, the fallout is swift and merciless. Claire files fraud charges, her evidence amplified by mine through Priya. Authorities raid his Seattle accounts, headlines flashing, designer charged in double life scam. His clients vanish, his reputation shredded like his sketches. Ellen's book launch is a triumph, the auditorium packed, applause washing over me like a cleansing wave. Rachel fades into obscurity, her threats empty. Maya toasts me over wine in the brownstone, our laughter echoing. To karma, she says, clinking glasses. Elise calls with updates. He's pleading out, ruined. Her pride warms me, our bond fully healed. I start mentoring Tara, the eager young psychologist with wide eyes and boundless curiosity, meeting her at a campus cafe where the chatter of students buzzes like potential. She's in her mid-20s, with light brown skin, short, curly black hair, bright brown eyes sparkling with curiosity, and a slim, enthusiastic frame, always fidgeting with energy. Trust your gut, I tell her over lattes, sharing lessons from my ordeal without the gory details. Deception hides in plain sight. Her nod mirrors my past self, and guiding her reignites my passion, turning pain into purpose. Months later, I revisit the Greenwich Village Gallery, the air still tinged with paint and possibility. Liam's gone, jailed, disgraced, a ghost. Claire's thank you note sits in my drawer, a quiet acknowledgement. Elise and I brunch weekly. Maya, my constant confidant. My book soars, my institute thrives. But the true victory is internal. A heart mended by resilience, not romance. I step outside, the night air cool on my skin, the city alive around me. I'm free, stronger, ready for whatever comes. And for the first time, that feels enough.